Blippity bloppity, train reader. A kid is going on an epic journey. She doesn't know why. Oh, why? Well, why not? Anyway, help her survive. Maybe. Just maybe. By making choices for her while she wanders the strange land of rain. Meet all kinds of obnoxious strangers, encounter unusual happenstances, and just be the most morbidly repulsive little thing this side of Sodenberg, my bad. And there are many events for her to come across, many ways she can react to each event, and the conclusion may be different, may be different, based on the kind of individual she presents herself as being. But if she gets too thirsty, poor or miserable, it's all over though. Here we go. Beep bop. Oh no, it opens another window. I think I broke it. I guess I'm not playing this after all. You're killing me, my dude. My internet's super slow. That fucking 56 megabyte, whatever. That's gonna take me over an hour. Look who decided to fucking work. Alright, here we go. A kid wakes up on a shore. Nice. And the kid has a memory no more. Nice. Now, this kid doesn't know where to stay. Nice. So the kid keeps up and wanders away. What do I do? Do I click? Oh, I do absolutely nothing. She is slowed down by the onset of growing sensation of malice. Malaysia. She just feels bad, very, very bad. Her heart is active, prepared, like it's anticipating something her mind isn't aware of. So nervous, yet she's also tired now. She takes a moment to sit down and curl up a bit. She slows down. Blah, blah. She just feels very bad. Think things over. She considers her situation. It sucks. This world doesn't seem to be very nice. Almost everything is either malicious or apathetic, and she wishes she could remember anything. Maybe it could be give her some kind of direction, although she supposes that she does have direction. From this incessant notion that she has to be somewhere right now, and that there's something she's supposed to be doing, presumably whatever she was trying to do before she lost her memory. She gets up and keeps walking. She's a hick who's thirsty and feeling okay. Nice. Wandering into some dismal woods, she finds herself brushing past tall, dark green trees. Words are hard. Their branches shaped like fingers reaching up towards the sky. She sits down beside a small pond with a humble waterfall nearby. A being with green skin and a long neck emerges from the pond and seems to recognize her. She doesn't recognize this being at all, though, but of course she doesn't really remember anything in general. She asks the being about who she was, what she's doing here, where she's from, who she was. This being isn't quite sure who she was exactly. They had only spoken briefly before, but it was very nice. It was very nice. The being recalls. God damn, I need to go to bed. She had presumed to come back and visit the being once she was finished with her goal, but it looks like it isn't the case. That isn't the case here. The being comments. Oh my fucking god. The being comments. She is indeed unsure as to what her goal was. She talks with the being for a while longer, envying their quiet life here in the pond. Eventually, she is forced to leave in search of whatever her goal was. Onward. Now I'm thirsty and I'm still a hick, but I'm still okay. While wandering around, she comes across a box sitting innocently on the ground. The box is made from a plain green wood, completely undecorated. Curiously, there doesn't seem to be a way to open it. It's just a wooden rectangle. But there is very clearly something rattling around inside it, which means it technically is a box. An incomplete box, a shoddy box, but still a box. This says absolutely all of her attention right now. She... I don't want to smash it open. I don't want to throw it away or take it with me. I don't want to do either one of these. Let's smash it open. Desperate to know what's inside, she smashes the box against the ground. The box embeds itself in a soggy soil. Everything is just so moist, apparently. Come to think of it, there's literally nothing hard anywhere nearby that she could use to break the box. Well, except she thumbs the box against her head several times until it finally breaks open, only to discover there actually wasn't anything inside at all. She picks the wooden pieces up and sells them to a random stranger for some cheese. The mystery of the box will haunt her forever until she forgets about it. I'm a yokel now, I guess. She happens upon a quaint, intricate-looking carriage of sorts that is slowly driving across the hills. There doesn't seem to be anyone pulling the carriage around, though. It's moving on its own. Curiosity, God, fuck me. Curiosity draws her closer. The carriage halts in response, while she walks up to a large curtained window along its side. The curtain opens to reveal a shadowy figure, clad in the fine suit. Their face is covered by a creepy-looking mask. The figure's movements are stiff and unnatural, while it pulls out a large sign that seems to be advertising services for a cost. She doesn't understand what any of this writing means, though. She chooses this one, that one, to be fiscally responsible. I'll be fiscally responsible. Paying an amount that she doesn't know for a service she also doesn't know seems to be a poor choice. She declines the offer. The figure's posture shrinks. She quickly walks away to avoid being guilted into buying something. After putting the carriage a fair distance behind her, she hears a creaking sound. It keeps getting louder until she turns around just as the carriage runs her over. There's initial thump while it slams her and knocks her into the ground, then a wet squish when the wheels pass by and grind her deeper into the mud. It takes a while for her to physically dislodge herself from the earth. Wow. She isn't happy right now. I wouldn't be either. Oh man, now I'm not okay anymore. Fuck man, I don't know. It could have been selling curses. I didn't want to take the risk. She's paying so little attention to where she's going that she nearly steps into a hole. It's not very large, but it looks quite deep. She can't actually see the bottom, there's only darkness. She can't even see the walls of the hole either, as if it's just a sheer drop in a massive abyss. This is very intimidating, but also interesting. She wonders how she can pointlessly jeopardize her safety by screwing around with this unusual hole. It'll be fun, she thinks, and desperate in need of some fun. So she tries reaching into it, drops it. No, don't drop the cheese in it. Don't reach into it either, something will grab you. Let's yell at it. She shouts hi down into the hole. A chorus of fainter echoes shout it back to her in response. She could have sworn somewhere in all of that she have heard one of them say bugger off instead, but it was probably just her imagination. Unfortunately, she can't come up with any more phrases to say into the hole. Okay. She's getting too much social anxiety from her own echoes. Alright, well, she leaves the hole be. Her path forward is obstructed by a murky river, the water glittering slightly in the moonlight. Fortunately, she knows that she can in fact float. Thus, her solution to this problem is to wade into the water and lay on her back. Gently paddling with her hands, she very slowly floats toward the other side of the river. She then hears an ominous rumbling in the distance, spotting a boat thundering down the river in her direction. Funny, she was in this exact situation not too long ago, and here she is in it again. I guess she didn't learn the first time around. Now, obviously, the boat isn't purposefully aiming for her, but from where she is, it sure looks like it's what's happening right now. Her response is just take it. The face of action. She wails and splashes about while trying to get out of the way of her imminent doom. In an instant, the boat speeds by, and although she avoids the boat itself, her screaming mouth does... What? Huh? Although she avoids the boat itself, her screaming mouth doesn't. As the boat passes, her pointy teeth graze the side of it and get caught in the wood. Unfortunately for her, her teeth are quite strong and don't break quite so easily. Long story short, she is now joined to the boat on its journey down the river. Whoever is driving it doesn't even notice she's there until they reach their destination and stop, at which point it takes several strangers to pry her off the side of the boat and then find her for damages. Wow, this game's fucked, dude. I'm gonna die. I'm parched, and I'm a hick, and I'm black. Maybe I should do the opposite of what I think I should do, because it's not working too well right now. All of a sudden, she is approached by a fancy-looking stranger. The stranger offers her a great deal of cheese if she will dance for them, right here and now, in the middle of nowhere. She asks the stranger why they would want her to dance, but they avoid answering directly. They seem skittish and desperate. I just need it, okay? I need it. She thinks it over and decides to, fuck it, we're gonna dance. Demand blood for dance and have some dignity. We'll dance. She very clearly had the option to retain a modicum of dignity, but in the end she chose to do this instead. She begins to dance. What the fuck? She begins to dance. Her legs aren't very good, so she mostly just waves her arms about while occasionally shifting her footing. She isn't really sure what she's doing, but the stranger seems to be very entertained by it. Actually, they seem very gratified by it, as if it's providing them with some kind of relief. Once they are satisfied, they thank her and hand her some cheese before cheerfully walking away. Alright, cool. Passing by a shallow river, she decides to take off her clothes. Calm down. They have a short path in the flow. It's refreshing. While she's bathing, she notices a different color fluid following among the river. It's blood. Before you ask, yes, she found that out by drinking some of it. What? She was upstream. No, she did not remember to put her clothes back on. What do you think she is? A functioning organism? Good thing I read that one right. She walks upstream to find that the blood is coming from a drainage pipe connected to a large metal building. It's painted yellow with a big toothy smile drawn on the side. This is unlike any structure she has seen before. She decides to infiltrate the building by sneaking in, being patient, or calculated observation. Fuck, we're sneaking in. She crawls into the dark drainage pipe, slurping up more sour blood along the way. The pipe connects to a large tiled room filled with piles of some kind of mulched, multicolored slop. Yum. Climbing up a ladder, she discovers numerous vats filled with blood. Each vat has been placed beneath a moonlit window. Some kind of rich blue cheese is slowly coagulating in the vats. She's never seen such cheese before. She's not able to try any of it before a stranger shows up and chases her out. She returns to her clothes and puts them back on, dread gnawing at her mind. She walks away. Oh no, I'm in high. But I'm a peasant and I'm fine. But that's it, she's done. Aw, that's it. She stomps away and never comes back, never comes back, never comes back. This one. She never comes back. Go figure. Oh, is that it? Oh, big sad. Failure! Aww. When it's different every time? Are you fucking me right now? Are you kidding me? It's different every time. She finds what appears to be an agent underground adequate network. Aqueduct. Man. It is so late. Leave me alone. Every surface meticulously carved from soft blue and purple stone, channels of babbling dark water flowing through a vast maze of narrow halls. It isn't long before she gets lost in the gloom. She spends so much time trudging through the water that she becomes intimately aware of what it sounds like, which is how she ends up noticing the sound of something else trudging through the water as well in the distance. Over time, the sound only continues to get closer regardless of how fast she moves. Her response is to, you know what? We're going to do the dumbest we're going to hunt it down. She's done with being she's done with ominously being stalked by its unknown thing. While in the middle of walking, she suddenly turns around and begins charging toward the direction of the sound. In response, it begins to move away from her. The chase continuing until the sound vanishes. She hurries only to find that the source of the sound had found the exit and escaped. Fortunately, now she also has found the exit, and she leaves the aqueducts. She can't shake the feeling that she saw herself from behind at some point, but she can't remember when. Whatever, moving on. Alright, cool. So we're just going to do the dumbest shit ever, and that's going to be the way to get out of here. While taking refuge in a cave, she finds a giant shell. It's just in here. It's quite majestic, though. She's certainly fascinated, but she doesn't know what it's supposed to do with it. She hasn't ever encountered a giant shell before. She doesn't even know what it's called. She doesn't even know it's called a shell. To her, it's just a cool shaped thing. She looks it over and knocks on it, leaves it alone, goes to sleep, gets distracted by something completely different. Let's get distracted. On the other side of the cave, there's a random door laying just against the wall. The rock wall. This new thing completely distracts her from whatever she was just thinking about. Walking over to the door, she finds that it is distinctly crooked, the wood carved in old black stains. She opens the door up, and as expected, there's nothing behind it but rock. She opens and closes the door again, just for a moment. For just a moment, she thinks she sees something, but it disappears. She begins opening and closing the door over and over, trying to catch a glimpse of this anomaly. She becomes so absorbed in trying to see it that she accidentally shuts the door on her face. Oh, that's cool. She runs out of the cave in embarrassment. Fuck! That was the wrong choice. She comes across a small village nestled among several large pulsating hills. The buildings are all made from green wooden boards, haphazardly stuck together. The streets rifle with churned up mud and junk. The citizens all look quite miserable. Cheese appears to be scarce here. Many give her suspicious looks when she walks by. She asks what's up, looks for something to buy, gives out free cheese. Let's give out free cheese! She hands out some cheese to the village folk. Many of them are suspicious of her and are convinced it's some kind of trick. Fuck, of course. She borderline has to trick them into accepting it, while some refuse to take any unless they gave her something in return. So, she got some blood out of it. Yum. Once it's all said and done, she doesn't feel like she accomplished much. The village folk seem so irrevocably bitter and distrustful. She wonders how things got this way. God damn it. This game's hard. She discovers a small hamlet which seems to be vacant of any residents. Although upon inspecting some of the houses, she finds that actually the citizens are just dead. Looks as though they starved to death. After drinking some of their partially congealed blood, oh my god, she gravitates toward a very large house visible not far from the hamlet. Upon arriving, the front door is locked, but peeking into the windows, she can see it is quite a lavish abode within. Curiously, she quietly opens one of the windows from the outside and climbs in. She decides to check upstairs. Among the many fancy pieces of furniture and trinkets, she discovers an entire room filled with high-quality cheese. She stuffs a bunch of it into her pockets. On her way out, she finds a huge portrait of a figure clad in yellow clothes. The painting is specifically cut off of the shoulders so that the figure's face remains unknown. The area around the portrait is decorated to be like some kind of shrine. She feels overwhelmingly compelled to destroy this painting as she shreds it with her pointy fingernails. Then footsteps begin to approach, prompting her to open and crawl out of the nearby window. Landing is rough but stealth successful. While traveling, she encounters a stone wall of very high proportions. It stretches off into the distance as far as she can see in either direction, completely obstructing the way forward. She follows the wall for quite some time, eventually encountering a grand metal gate. Adjacent to the gate, she finds a toll booth with a stranger inside. The stranger asks if she is one of them, and states that they are not allowed to pass through the gate. While she asks who they are, the stranger explains that they are those who cannot pay the toll. She decides to. Let's just ask what a toll. I don't know. Like, I feel like if I try to rob them, she'll probably like fall on her face and like, I don't know, bust her nose into her brain or something. The way this game is. We'll just ask what a toll is. She has never heard of a toll before and asks the stranger what a toll is. The stranger explains that it is when you have to pay in order to access a certain area or cross a certain point. She further questions why she has to pay, and the conversation only continues to fall into an endless cycle of her questioning the illusionary nature of ownership and monetization. She annoys the stranger for so long that they eventually move the toll booth, the gate, and the entire wall of her way, so she'll shut up. And thus she continues on. Yeah, I got the right one. Hell yeah. She's been having this whole thing lately where the gnashing desire to consume blood keeps progressively crawling in its way up through her thoughts. There's like nobody around, though, for her to drink the blood of. And even if there was, it'd be pretty awkward. She has the idea to try to drink her own blood instead. She thinks this idea is great. She's actually really hyped about this. She goes, oh god, I probably fucked this up. She goes into town, biting into her arm and slurping up that sweet, sweet self-blood. Afterwards, she feels less thirsty and actually much more rejuvenated. It tastes much less bland than the blood of the stranger she's been encountering for some reason. Although, she also feels slightly sick now, so she takes a sign that she probably shouldn't do this again unless she's desperate. Then after a while, she forgets the whole situation even occurred. Great. Tripping over a random bulge in the uneven ground, she falls over. On attempting to stand up, she discovers that she can't. It seems that her legs are made of wood, and the clockwork have never noticed it until now, since they were able to walk just fine. And it's not like she's been paying attention to anything. But now that she's on her bum, there's just no way for her to get her legs to behave in a way that will allow her to stand up. So, she completely gives up, keeps trying, starts to crawl. We'll crawl. This is too pathetic of an obstacle to bring about the end of her journey. She can't allow it. The internal audience that is in her several brain cells would be so incredibly disappointed if her story were to end like this. She must keep going, if only for the sake of not validating that one little voice in the back of her head that keeps saying, "You suck, just give up," over and over. So, she crawls, and she crawls. Then she gets tired and falls asleep. Then wakes up and keeps crawling. She sees a stranger in the distance. She crawls towards them. She crawls into them. They shake her off. In disturbed confusion, she falls off them and lands back on her feet. Standing again! She did it. She proudly goes back to walking. Oh hey, it's the hole again. We don't have to read this. She's paying a little attention to where she's going. She nearly steps in a hole, not very large, but it's quite deep. She accidentally sees at the bottom of the own doctor. Somebody read this part. We're just gonna yell at it again because it didn't seem like it hurt me. We need to not get hurt. We need to make it to the end. She happens upon a random dead stranger on the ground. Instinctively, she is drawn into biting them and slurping up some of their sour blood. She almost dies from fright as they jerk awake and thrash her off. Having apparently been merely sleeping, the stranger is quite upset and demands compensation for the loss of their blood. There's no way for her to escape this situation. She's too busy trying to catch her breath still. It's awkward. She has to say something. She says that. She'll pay them back. She'll return the blood. Actually, no, she'll say nothing. I'll pay you back. Begrudgingly, she takes some of the cheese out of her pocket and gives it to the stranger. What a boring conclusion, anyways. No, I'm a hick. I need to be a peasant. I like how it says you at the bottom as the worst result. That's awesome, dude. She wanders into a town where everything is made from dark blue and purple stone. The partially flooded street is covered in cracks and the buildings seem to be slowly crumbling. The townsfolk are clad in dingly-looking clothes, shambling about while they avoid making eye contact with her. Wandering around, she can't help but notice a specific part of the town that is different than the rest. It's all posh and gleaming here. She doesn't fit in at all with her grimy attire. The strangers walking down the street look down at her suspiciously. While in town, she decides to chill out, find some blood, start a revolution. Find some blood. The concept of finding is pretty dubious here. It's not like blood is just hanging around waiting to be discovered. Technically it is, though, in the veins of passerby. She ambushes some random sod in the alley and she has a bite of a nom on their neck. She feels much better now, but she also feels worse, so to speak. She sinks back into the shadows. Hey, look, we're almost at the end. We might survive this one. All right. Now that I said that, I'm gonna die. Her path forward. Oh, here's the river again. Okay, last time. What if we just take it? Yeah, honestly, she's been hit by a speeding boat once already in context, and you may or may not have experienced. So what's another one, right? She puts on her best tough face, and continues to innocently float towards the other side of the river, the boat getting closer and closer while the motor roars on approach. In an instant, the world begins to spin as the boat, it actually hits me, as the boat collides with her, launching her into the air like the stupidest frisbee you've ever saw. She lands back on the side of the river she started at, regretting her choice, and in the case of her lack of choice, it gets back up and tries again. Damn it! No! I should have warned him. I figured it'd have the same thing of me trying to, fuck. Damn it! I told you. Now that I said I'm gonna win, I'm gonna fucking lose. I jinxed myself. Oh, here's a new one. She is approached by a stranger with poofy hair. The stranger is unique in that they have the same kind of moonborn. They are in the same kind of moonborn as she, a mism. The stranger is also unique in that she has seen them before. This is the stranger who stole her hat. They claim to have found it, but she knows better. Yet they had refused to give it back to her. So she followed them, waited for them to fall asleep, and took the hat back. It seems they have tracked her down and want to reclaim the hat, convinced in fact she is the one who is the thief. Her response is, monetary, I don't know, money talks. She decides to put this cheese she had to use. Everyone she encounters seems to think it's so important that it's time to go with the flow. She holds some cheese out for the stranger and offering, "Do your thing, cheese, work the situation out." The stranger doesn't seem to understand, nor do they accept the cheese offering. This isn't working. In frustration, she begins to throw the cheese at the stranger, who attempts to angrily rationalize with her before giving up and stomping away. Crisis averted. She moves on. Yes. Oh no! I'm a fine vagabond, blah. Oh god, here's another new one. For absolutely no reason, she spontaneously remembers a really funny joke, which she apparently has heard before. A remnant of her time before forgetting everything, perhaps. She starts to laugh, and she doesn't stop. No, really, she doesn't stop. She's still laughing. This is weird and unproductive. She's having trouble breathing now, so she hits herself till it's not funny anymore. Contemplates existence, rides it out. Definitely not gonna ride it out. Definitely don't want to hit myself, because the way this game's been going, she's probably gonna go a little too far and like punch her eye out or something. So we're gonna contemplate yes, contemplate existence. That's not funny. Amidst her laughter, she begins to ponder an inherent impossibility that is existence. In order for anything to exist, it had to have come from something. But for that something to exist, it also has to have come from something too. Even if everything was descended from a single speck floating in the nothingness, that speck had to have come from something. Here's a plot twist, so did the nothingness. Ooh. Which means it is impossible for anything to exist, since at one point something would have had spawned from nothing, which is objectively impossible. Yet, at the same time, it can't be impossible, since if it was, she wouldn't be here right now. She's not laughing anymore. Didn't think so. Hell yeah! Now I just gotta fix my... I'm so close to beating it! Come on! Ugh. Ew. She wanders into a dense forest filled with narrow trees and swirly undergrowth. Struggling to wade through the bush while it grasps at her legs. Moonlight casting long shadows over everything. She is startled as the undergrowth begins to writhe and shift, twisting into a face that stares up from the ground. It grins smugly and questions if she knows what she is doing. Her response is anger, denial, super denial. Super denial! What do you do when denial isn't enough? Engage in super denial! Okay, I don't know why I did that. I'm tired. Oh, is somebody here? Somebody talking to me? I didn't hear anything, she thinks while she keeps walking and steps directly into the face's mouth. It chokes and retches as her boot gets coiled amongst the undergrowth composing its throat. She keeps trying to walk as if nothing was even wrong, tugging her leg against the undergrowth until her boot rips some of it out and is freed. The face recoils in anguish and merges back into the bush from whence it came. She quickly leaves the force behind. Look at that, fucking super denial kicked in and won. Come on, I'm almost there. Look how close I am. This game is so long, I just want to beat it. Fuck. All of a sudden, she presses fancy. Yeah! I know this one. All you gotta do is dance, I think. Wait. Oh. Wait a minute. Dance? Fuck! No! It made me go from blah to whatever. Fuck! Come on. Like one or two more and I'm done. Please. 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 Can this be the end, please? Far in the distance, she sees a shadow most tall. I think this is it. Fucking thank God. Looming over the hills, making all else look small. But wait, what if each story has a different ending? Oh no. Walking closer, she discovers it's a mansion made of cheese. That means I have to do the other story. In front of the door is unlocked. There's no need for any keys. Stepping inside, it's too dark for her to see. She's probably gonna get eaten. Yet, she knows she is exactly the place that she needs to be. The whole world is silent while she goes upstairs. The anticipation she feels, absolutely nothing compares. And there in the bedroom, she finds what she sought. A corpse, clad in yellow, left for ages to rot. It sits by the window in the grand-looking chair. Up at the moon it seems to stare. She opens the window, and on its sill she stands. Oh no! Before leaping out at the moon, she reaching with her hands. Dude, why? What? Dude. I did all that just so she can kill herself. Fuck off, dude. Is that the end? I guess I'll have to assume that's the end. That was really cool though. That was a really fun game. There's evidently multiple stories, one of which I failed, so I might have to go back and do it again sometime. I don't know. But it was really cool, it was really fun. The outcomes were really crazy and I liked it. It was pretty cool. I like that one a lot. Thanks for making it. It was fun playing. But it's really late, so I'ma go. Bye.
And I was waiting in the